Welcome to Gold Derby. I'm senior editor Denton Davidson here with Tony Raines from the Challenge 40 Battle of the Eras. Tony, you won the daily challenge. You were completely safe, and you had the power to choose who went into the arena. And then you get in this stalemate with Averey. Why were you so stubborn? And was it worth risking your game in that way?
See, here's the problem. And what I'm starting to notice is how it's being framed. I'm the one being stubborn. I don't understand why I am viewed as the one that was being stubborn and not Avery. I got it. So here's the thing. I haven't watched the episode either. So I don't know how it's going to be played out and how it's going to be aired, how it got put together. I understand that Avery may have had a better argument on why she wanted to keep Derek out of the elimination versus my argument of why I wanted Derek to go into the elimination. I understand that, so I guess I'm being viewed as the one that was being stubborn, and I should have just gave in, whatever. But I was looking, I was thinking about it from my game. From For my game, I thought that it was a better move for me to give Darrell who he wanted down there so I could use that later on in the game, further down the road. I get that Avery has a long-standing relationship with Derek. You know, the 10 years they've been knowing each other, they're best friends outside the show, literally hang out all the time. I get that. But I'm taking friendships and all that stuff out of it. I'm there to also win my share of $1 million, just like you are. So I got to do what's best for my game. It's just unfortunate that we were paired up together to make a decision and it came down to what it did. Um, but I had made my mind up. I was going to stick to my guns. And look, unfortunately, it did not work out for me. I'm going to look like the bonehead. I'm going to look like the idiot. And that's something I got to live with. I got to move on from it. And she came out looking like the hero. And I am more than proud of her. I'm so happy for her. I wouldn't have wanted that. I wouldn't have wanted anything else for her. I'm very happy that we wasn't paired up at that time and it was a paired elimination to where, hey, if y'all are competing as a pair against this team, if y'all lose, y'all both go home. I'm happy for her on that. She came out and she did awesome. So um,
So you're happy she stayed.
oh, 100%, 100%. That's what's not going to be shown, and it's a shame because I knew Avery from All Stars. We did All Stars, and I got to know her for a little bit out there. I think she's a great person. She was awesome. She was so authentic, so real. And coming into season 40, again, we just picked up where we left off. She was great. We had a great rapport. We talked a lot out there. We talked about personal things. We talked about our family life back home. How happy she is with Adam and their kids, and how happy I am with my wife and sharing things about my children and my kids and how important all that kind of stuff is to us. And it, it's unfortunate, like I said, that's going to be shown, that relationship, and it took a very sour, quick turn when obviously I didn't agree to keep Derek safe from elimination. Um, so yes, happy for her, 100%. I couldn't. I told her after elimination, I said, Avery, super proud of the great job down there. And she told me go eat a dick. And I'm like, all right, I get it. I probably deserve that. I probably deserve that. But I mean, you want to talk about night and day, our relationship out there from before that happened, before that elimination to after it was or before that elimination to when we actually were like, okay, I'm not giving in, you're not giving in. It was night and day. And she was very mean, very mean to me.
Well, this is what I
Um,
didn't really, and I'm with you on this part because I didn't understand that she had this like extreme loyalty to Derek that she's not willing to throw him in. And he's like, "Oh yes, thank you for being so loyal." Yet he's willing to watch her throw her game away.
Thank you.
It seems like a lopsided friendship or alliance.
Thank you. And so and I'm glad you bring that up. And I don't know if a lot of people look at it in the same light, just because of the way it's being framed, I feel like. But if that's my best friend, if that's my best friend in the entire world, and my best friend is willing to throw their self in front of the bullet for me, I'm pushing them out of the way of the bullet and getting back in front of it. That's just who I am. Like I'm not gonna allow somebody to nominate themselves for me to go down there and say, okay, hey, no, don't worry about it. Like I just, yeah, a lot of people aren't looking at it from that point of view, but yeah, it's
Well, you were thrown in the first elimination and came out on top over Leroy, but your
yes.
team had sent you in. Tori and Corey had sent you in. You wanted Jordan to go in, I believe, try to gun for a target. But did you already feel like your team was sort of against you in some way? Did you feel like you had
Oh
to
yeah.
prove to Kylan and
Oh,
Casey in other eras?
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But I had to look, I knew I was gonna have to maneuver and I was gonna have to, try to wheel and deal outside of my era. It was very apparent. It was honestly, it was apparent after the first elimination when I got thrown in, and it just became more and more clear. Like, okay, I am. I even said it in one of my interviews. I said I'm the lowest man on the totem pole in my era. I'm the person that they're going to want to try to get out. I'm the easy target. Everybody else has very strong, solid relationships within that group. You could connect the dots there. Um, so yeah, I already knew it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to, like I said, wheel a deal outside of my era and try to make some deals and try to get some people that's going to look out for me in the long run here, because it's not going to happen within my era. Aside from Devin, that's all I got.
How did you feel going up against Durrell? Because it turned out to be a mental challenge. There was some heavy lifting, but a mental challenge. And Durrell even says in the episode, he's like, I've got a lot of friends watching, and I'm relying on them to help me out. Did it feel like he was getting help, or did you feel like anyone was helping you, or what was that elimination challenge like for you?
Uh, the thing is, era one was so loud. They were so loud. They were so loud for Darrell. Yes, I'll tell you. When I was in that sand and it was happening in real time, I felt like Era One was 100,000% helping out Darrell more than my era was helping me out. I heard Devin, of course, Devin trying to help me out. He's doing the best he can, and I heard Jordan a little bit, but I didn't really hear anybody else when I was down there in that sand. But I heard Era One freaking they were gonna make sure Darrell came out of that sand and was gonna win that elimination no matter what. Um, I didn't feel the same support on my side. I really didn't. Even when the women's round, I felt like my era was giving Averey more support than I was getting in the men's round. So that was another part of the game that you got to deal with out there, and you got to adjust and you got to adapt. And I wasn't able to do that.
Well, you've been to a final before. What's more difficult, losing a final or going home this early? Like, what's the tougher pill to swallow?
As of right now, my answer is losing a final
Yeah.
because that was the only final that I went to, and I think about that final all the time. And I think about there was a specific moment in that final when I started walking because I felt like there's no way I could win. And I regret that moment to this day. Because if I wouldn't have started walking and I would have at least kept jogging, I probably would have had a shot. Because the person that passed me up while I was walking was Cara. And guess who won that season? Cara.
Yeah.
Cara, I'm walking. I'm feeling defeated. Cara walks past. She says, "What you doing?" "Ah, I'm too far behind." She goes, "Oh, you got to keep it up." And she just keeps going. And I got my head hanging my, I regret, I can't believe I let myself down in that moment. So right now, I'll say the final. After I watch this episode tonight, and I got to see the disappointment in my little girl's eyes and my little girl's face, maybe I'll save this one and going home early. But as of right now, it's the final for sure. That one stings. That one hurts. To put in all that work and then go home, it's like, oh.
When you were eliminated this week, did you rank players at the end? Because we saw in the first episode, we saw all the people ranked, but I don't think we see that for this. So did you get to do that too, rank the remaining players?
Yes.
Who were you hoping would do the best? Like who are you rooting for when you walked away?
So my I'll say my top three people I was rooting for would have been I was rooting for Derek K. Uh, he's a good buddy of mine. my wife and his wife text all the time. They were like giving each other updates while we were out there filming and stuff like that. We got a lot of respect for each other's families. I hang out with him so much. We do the Challenge Mania events together and all that. And we're just somebody I really, really get along with. Love that guy. So I was really rooting for D. Um, I obviously was rooting for Devin. That was my number one out there. That's my guy. And, you know, to round out the top three, I was really, really, really pulling for Avery. I wanted to see her do well. I wanted to see her do well. I wanted her to, to be justified and make she had so much fire in her and intensity. I don't know if that translated came through on air on TV, but you could tell she really, really wanted to prove herself out there. It reminded me of like a younger me, like that just that, everybody doubting me. Everybody, thinks I'm not good enough. This and just wanting to just prove everybody wrong. Like I felt that energy from her. So regardless of how things played out between me and her and how she may feel about me now, I would 100% rooting for Avery.
Look back over all of this stuff you've been through, like for the last 20 plus years since you got thrown into this reality TV craziness. What's the craziest memory you have of all of these challenges? I mean, your spleen got destroyed one
Well,
season.
that's the first thing that comes to mind. That's the
Okay,
first. It's
what
you're
happened? Is that the worst experience you've had on the challenge?
It's the absolute worst experience I've had on the challenge for a number of reasons. One, I almost died. Right, I lost I was bleeding internally. My spleen ruptured. I was bleeding internally.
Oh,
We didn't really even discover it until like the second day. So I'd already lost like 4 pints of blood. Um, Second reason would be because my brother was with me. It was Bloodlines. My little brother was with me, and that show and him being out there and having the opportunity meant so much to him. For that to happen and us get sent home, and because he's linked with me, he had to leave as well. That crushed me. That
mm,
crushed me. And also, hey, it was my first challenge. I'm going out there. I'm trying to make an impression. I'm trying to make a splash. I'm trying to do the best I possibly can. Right. And that was yeah, that was the most memorable. Unfortunately, it's not a great memory, but that's the most memorable thing as far as in my challenge career. The most traumatizing as
yeah,
well. Just unfortunate.
scary. Well, Tony,
Yeah,
we're out
they
of
had to
time.
go in there and they had to go in my stomach and like take my spleen out, like in Turkey.
So you were there in Turkey getting all of this done, and then you have to
Yeah,
sit there and then get sent home, like in the
yeah, yeah. 3 or 4 days later, I got to sit in the hospital for 3 or 4 days, and then they send me home. It
wow.
was yeah, it was crazy, man.
Well, we're out of time, and Tony, always fun to see you on the challenge. Sorry we're speaking this early, but thanks for coming and hanging out with Gold Derby today.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.